Hi, this is Tom Barnhart. I'm here in Warsaw, Poland on a beautiful sunny day, June 7th, 10 days before next week's USA-CEE Investment Summit and Awards. I'm very excited to be here in Warsaw at the venue. This is where we're going to be. This is the Elektrownia Powieśle. You can see the area here. The reception will be here for the reception. You can see the rooftop as well. We'll be inside for the daytime conference, but the reception and such will be here in the afternoon. For those of you who will be here, should be 50 to 80 people in person and about 100 to 150 via online via the Hop-In platform. This is a quick video to give you a bit of an update about our wonderful speakers, our incredible jury members, and some of the hot top companies that have been shortlisted for the awards next week. We start off the morning at 9 o'clock in the morning with a panel on expansion to the US with a few case studies. Printful, which has become a $100 million company and a unicorn, by the way, out of Latvia, has set up in North Carolina. Seko Warwick, their chairman and CEO, will be speaking in the morning, and Canpack, who has done $100 millions investment into the U.S. We then have advice from Neil Pickett, who runs the U.S. Department of Commerce here in Warsaw. Bernhard Otterstein, representing the Polish-Canadian Chamber of Commerce. Sergio Dominguez, who represents CASE, which is the Council of American States in Europe, out of Germany. He'll be here talking about their locations, etc. Then we go into financing your expansion to the U.S. Presentations by Citibank's Sebastian Perchak. We have Atmos Ventures, Dominique Andrzejczuk, talking a bit about the equity side of expansion to the U.S. And Dominique is based in San Francisco and Warsaw with his new fund, Atmos Ventures. We then get into the 3 C's initiative, which is an important part of the theme of the conference, talking about infrastructure, talking about energy, networking, connecting to people through digital infrastructure, physical infrastructure, airports, seaports, etc. So that's Joe Phillips, who runs Amber Infrastructure. They are the advisory group to the 3 C's investment, or the 3 C's fund. We then go in with a political presentation overview of the region with Marek Matraszek. I want to say once again to CEC Group, Marek, his enthusiasm, his energy, his optimism and confidence getting on board with this very early on is much appreciated. Thank you very much, Marek. We have presentations from DCT Gdańsk, Port Plotza out of Croatia. We have Paweł Mleczko from PepsiCo, the newest SSE in Krakow. We have another SSE to tell you about later on. I won't say that yet. Los Angeles Screaming Box, Dave Erickson, talking a bit about outsourcing from the US, from Central Europe to the US. We then have a strong presentation on energy and we then have 4 panel discussions. And the way this is going to work is there are panel discussions. What we're aiming at is having very interactive sessions, not a one-way presentations. And so TPA's Wojciech Stuba will moderate the energy panel. The idea is that when you're at the event physically or online via Hop-In, you go to the session or the round table about energy, for example, and you pop in and it'll look a bit like a LinkedIn or rather a Zoom call, and on that you'll have a number of people there. You'll be able to interact, discuss, have a discussion, and you'll find interesting common points for further discussion. We then suggest you take that conversation offline for more in-depth research. We have cities being presented, and while typically I would say that the cities' presentations are typically just kind of a one-way presentation, I don't think it'll be that way this time. We have the city of Charlotte presenting. We have the city of Nashville, Tennessee presenting. We have the country of Moldova presenting. We have the city of Łódź presenting. And in all of these cases, we're really focusing on interactivity and the ecosystem of trade and investment between Central Europe and the US and Canada. And so when you're at those panels, those discussions, you're able to then connect to the cities, to the states. We also have the state of Nevada presenting. So you'll find it quite useful and interesting to connect and find further additional connections from that. We finish the day with a keynote presentation, or let's say a fireside chat with me and Brian Patterson. Brian Patterson is the man behind all of this, and Brad Patterson is perhaps one of the most successful American investors, entrepreneurs in Poland and Central Europe. He has built up White Straw Real Estate over many, many years, and he's going to tell his story, some of the setbacks, there weren't that many by the way, some of the successes, and some of the, let's say, the war stories along the way. Very interesting evening for those of you who will be here physically. If you're not, you'll be able to participate again online via Hopin. We have 19 awards categories for the Evening Awards Gala, so that should also be interesting as well. I'm going to tell you very quickly about the jury members. Impressive jury members. We've got a lot of jury members, almost 35. Once again, you are able to connect to those people. They're from different walks of life, from different parts of the US, Canada, all across Central Europe. I'll just give you a couple of highlights. 3M, Judith Garcia Galeana out of Minnesota. She runs 3M's Global Shared Service Centers. City, New York, Arindam he's the global head of info security operations. David Putz, top entrepreneur here in Poland, running Bilan Group. Shermick Smith, another top entrepreneur and investor, Get Back chairman, by the way. Rafał Andrzejewski, TFC Capital. Mike Kennedy, who set up Goldman Sachs IT operations here in Poland years ago, and co-founder of Talent Alpha. John Lynch, based in Krakow, running Linka, Europe's largest and most successful promotional products company. Ed McDonald, who set up CAG, Capital Advisory Group, years and years ago, now runs McDonald Advisory. You're looking for help on buying, selling, M&A advice, he's your man. Going into the U.S. market, we've got Tech Ranch Austin, Kevin Coyme out of Austin, Dave Erickson out of Los Angeles, the Screaming Box. Back to Poland, Wojciech Siewierski running EEC Ventures, a big VC group with about 150 million funds behind him. Martin Ring, who runs Wolves Summit out of Wrocław. Szymon Stadnik, Frista, the BPO operation here, providing services to Swiss companies primarily. Bill Avery, based in Minnesota, key entrepreneur in Romania, totally plugged into Romania, doing media there. City Globe out of New York, Anis, Romania, Gabriela Machea, running the IT operations, IT Association of Romania. Keeper AI, Vishal, Keeper AI based in New York. Lufthansa, Frank Wagner running the Lufthansa operations here in Poland, but in fact for all of Central Europe. Ron Farkas, Poland US operations. If you want to plug into someone for defense procurement, huge business in Poland right now with the NATO movement. Ron is one of the great guys to do it. Kasia Dorocińska, 7R in Krakow, one of the top marketing and branding executives, I think, in all of Europe. State of Nevada, I mentioned already, Paweł Piotraszynski, he will be having a round table for Nevada as well. Then we have from Lithuania, Washington, D.C., Danas Vatkievičius out of D.C., U.S. Bulgarian Chamber in Pennsylvania, Elis Nestorov, Czech Invest, Matej Zaradnik out of New York, PAIS, a Polish investment agency, also in New York, Krzysztof Grabowski, Inga from the Baltic American Chamber of Commerce in New York, Enterprise Estonia, James York in New York, Consulate General of Hungary in New York, Judith Chaiko, Eric Stewart, Washington, D.C., running the American Central European Business Council out of Washington. OCO Global, Alan Stevenson in New York, doing advisory work, location advisory, and advising U.S. and Canadian companies where to set up operations. The same thing with Christopher Huberts, TBIC, which is Transatlantic Business and Investment Council. Aldgate Strategy Group, Nathaniel Espino, been here forever in Poland, very plugged in, also to the media side. Speaking of media, we have Niche Media, Argus Media. Tomasz Stempian knows everything about the LPG, LNG, wind, energy, all of the energy thing. He's your man. And finally, our last on the media side is Matthew Dave, The Economist, and Daily Telegraph. That's the jury. A couple of last comments on the shortlisted companies. Very impressive list. Corning, Zoetis, Kimberly-Clark, Pfizer, 3M, Jeppesen, Boeing, Fiat Chrysler, Ford, Romania, Hello One out of Canada, Pratt & Whitney, Sum Poland, Cooper Standard, International Paper, Lear Corp, PPG Industries, and on the real estate side, Panattoni, Apollo Rita, White Star, Amstar, Cornerstone Griffin, ICOM, Heinz, energy partners, especially on the LNG side, Cheniere Energy, Sempra Energy, Venture Global, all doing LNG. Westinghouse doing new things, including a new SSC in Poland right now. Amerigas as well. Top medical and pharma companies. Novavax, everyone knows these because of the virus situation these days. Novavax, Pfizer, Amgen, Janssen, which is of course J&J, and AmerisourceBergen. U.S. states up for the nominations as well: Nevada, South Carolina, Indiana, Florida. Top American cities up for nominations: Austin, Raleigh, Nashville, Jacksonville, and Charlotte. Best banks for North American expansion: Citibank, PKO BP, Santander, Bank of America. And just to mention a few of the companies in the CE Digital Services Solution Provider of the Year: Transition Technologies, IBA Group, CodeWriters, Softbinator. I'm not going to mention all of them. Top manufacturing investors in the U.S. I mentioned already Canpact, Com4 out of Virginia, Bandy Laboratories doing West Virginia factory, Press Glass in North Carolina. And then some of our top female execs in North America: Anna Zagrzewski, Amanda Wojtas, Marta Milkowska, Agnieszka Raz, Alexander Utterbach, Christian Lipardi, Joanna Draniak, and Sylvia Gorajek. So thanks for the ladies there. Impressive group there. High potential tech companies, I'm not going to mention all of them, just a few of them: Upswat from Ukraine, Subly out of Montenegro, Augmented Vision, City Robots, Streamfire out of Austria, CodeWriters out of Armenia, Trustmate Poland, HealCloud out of Hungary, Pomidor in Greece, MyFood in Poland, Sarah AI in Poland, and Flowwide in Hungary. So that's a very quick name drop. I'm dropping lots of names there on purpose. Those are some of the people you're going to meet here in person here in Warsaw, or virtually via the Hopin platform. It is all taking place June 17th. It's a Thursday. We start 9 o'clock in the morning Central European time. We kick off around 2 p.m. Central European time to get the U.S. and Canadian East Coast guys. We finish at 6:30 with the award ceremony, 7:30 with the keynote presentation by Brian Patterson. Should be very interesting. Then we have very nice wines and drinks and dinner up here for those of you who are physically here. Hope you'll be here. Looking forward to seeing you. It'll be a great electric environment. Great to see people in person. Looking forward to seeing you physically here. If you're online, that's also great. We're hybrid in both ways, so we'll have big screens as well inside for those of you who are taking place virtually. Have a great day, a great week, and very much hope to see you here in Warsaw next week, or on the Hopin event, Hopin platform next week. Thank you. Bye.